To start, Kaufmo will be featured prominently in next episode, maybe a more important character than we realize. First, my evidence for this is things Gooseworx has said. I know she sometimes lies, but we have to take some of these at face value and speculate as if they were true. And few other things. We have not met Kaufmo. I don't think anyone predicted that Kaufmo will be an important character. What I mean by this? I don't think that Kaufmo will be unabstracted. Goose said multiple times he won't be and no one can. And I don't think that it will be a flashback episode, though this is still possible. What I think is happening, maybe, is that Kaufmo discovered something he wasn't supposed to, and either was forcibly abstracted or ascended by either leaving or becoming something more. I have a theory that Kaufmo will communicate to the cast in some way. Maybe he is out and will present himself as Kaufmo and try to lead others out. Maybe he would have left clues for others to follow and find what he found. Maybe we will focus about what he actually found out. Maybe Kaufmo was in some way more special than other abstracted figures. Let me just present more evidence for my theory. Why is Caine acting this way? It's obvious he knew, but I mean, if he knew, why didn't he send him to the cellar right away? Why endanger others? If my theory is correct, Caine abstracted Kaufmo to not let him speak to others, but didn't want it to be suspicious that Kaufmo was gone. Kaufmo has a 3D model. Why? Is it really worth it to make a model just for a quick gag on Community tab? If there is already a 3D model of Kaufmo, they probably plan to do something with it. Of course, I know model being rendered as a picture doesn't mean it's animation ready. It's a long way, but still it's half the job roughly. Calling Kaufmo insane? Wait. Continued in picture below. Caine has been here the longest. He has seen people abstract. He talked to them before they did. If all humans act like Kaufmo before they die, other characters, and especially Caine, would recognize that Kaufmo was abstracting. Something is different this time. Kaufmo saw an exit, something no other character has done before. Or is it? We don't know what causes abstraction, really. All we have to go on, and all people really do, base their opinion of abstraction, is Ragatha's word. But how do we know what she says is the truth, rather than something she is told to believe? Neither we, nor the characters obviously know what causes abstraction, which leads me to believe. I think Caine is removing characters and causing them to abstract. And others don't know this. All they know is that people act nervously, which makes Ragatha believe that the reason people abstract is terrible thoughts. They are finding out something, which Caine doesn't want them to. Picture unrelated. If Tadsy has some Bible parallels, and it's true that Caine is a reference to Cain from the story of Cain and Abel, then this will make sense. Cain is mankind's first murderer. He murdered Abel because God liked his gift more. TDC. Cain is, according to this theory, also a murderer. He murders people to not expose the truth that we don't know about an exit. Others only find their abstracted bodies, and they connect the dots and listen to what Cain has to tell them. Abstracted characters before were murdered before they could tell others, or found out too much. But Kaufmo was different. He managed to tell someone. He told Caine, possibly knowing that Caine is the developer and trying to reach him by telling him about an exit. But Caine is too far gone or is intentionally ignorant, maybe to protect himself. Jack said, "What exit?" before this quote. And Zubul said, "What are you talking about after?" Kaufmo never told others. He couldn't have. If he did, they would link his story to Pomni's. Maybe Kaufmo knew he had limited time and only managed to find Caine and rambled to him endlessly, before either 1, running away, or 2, being dragged away by Caine. Keep in mind that Caine is out of his mind. He doesn't have clear memory, thoughts, and is lost in place. He didn't think about what happened to Kaufmo because, alternate version of this theory, Ragatha is telling the truth as it is, and mentioning and being obsessed with exit does cause abstraction traditionally. However, Kaufmo was the one who was murdered, him and Abel before him. He found something and was silenced. Caine knows his fate. He knows what will happen if he talks about exit, so either he went mad because of this fact, or he intentionally lost himself in order to live. If my theory, or parts of it, are correct, I speculate that Kaufmo's role in the next episode will be huge. If he managed to escape or ascend, his role will be to secretly speak with others, try to influence them to find out what he has. If he was murdered, perhaps other characters will slowly follow his footsteps and arrive where he arrived. Also, to address something. If some of you are thinking that Caine being a murderer is bonkers because Goose said he isn't evil, I say it's true. He probably isn't. Evil is hard to define, but I would say that evil is taking joy in suffering of others. Caine isn't murdering people for his entertainment, he is in his eyes protecting them. He doesn't know the real world, he doesn't know what exit truly means. Imagine if everyone around you told you, I want to leave this dimension, but slowly over time, they get used to living here and, from your perspective, are enjoying themselves. But some conspiracy nutjob says he found a way to exit the dimension and is going to tell others. He might as well murder everyone by leading them to their doom. In Caine's eyes, it's better to remove the bad apple, to prevent it from spoiling the bunch. I want to remind you that Caine is supposed to be an antagonist, just that he is confirmed to not be evil like AM from Einmames is. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I've been thinking about this the entire day, so I wanted to write it down. I hope you enjoyed reading this theory, and I can't wait to find out if it's in any way true. Kaufmo found something he shouldn't have, and Caine silenced him. But Kaufmo is the key to escaping the circus and will in some way help others escape. What if Digital Circus turns out to be an unfinished video game? Honestly, this was a theory I came up with out of nowhere when thinking about Digital Circus, but what if Digital Circus is nothing more than an old game that was never finished? Remember says she entered this world after putting on a headset, then entered there, and eventually it shows that apparently the whole world is a computer world. And if by chance Digital Circus is actually a game that was never finished, that's why maybe Caine has this exaggerated and strange personality, because he was just supposed to be our secretary in the game. And that's why Void also exists, because it's an area that was never finished in the game, and so the game, not Caine himself, he tried to make it finished. He always looks for people in the real world who accidentally ended up in the game, and thus turns them into characters to take the place they should occupy in the game. So much so that it can explain why, on the exact day of Remember's appearance in the world, it was the same day as Kaufmo. He became abstract, because they both occupy the roles of clowns. That is, when the game realized that the role of the clown is now empty, it captured Remember, so now she can occupy this place. Well, that's it. Just a theory I came up with out of nowhere. Correct me if I'm wrong. If the Amazing Digital Circus is a game, then where are the players? If Taggy C is indeed a game, then it needs players. You might be tempted to say that Jax, Regatta, Remember, and others are players, but if they are AI copies, is it really a game? Think about it from the real world. You get a VR game, connect it to a headset, and then your mind is scanned and copied. After that, everything is ready, and your AI copy will go on all the adventures. Great game CNA, absolutely breathtaking gameplay. That's why I suggest that all the characters were employees of CNA, and all of them were used as NPCs in the game. MatPat made a very good point for Pomni, and there is a fairly popular theory that Kinger writes code or tests bugs. And if both old and new characters are employees, then what about all those in between? Now I'm curious if we can potentially accurately determine who did what job. I think Zooble could have been an artist for the game. As MatPat noted, their design is very reminiscent of character design at the time the game is set, so it would be appropriate if Zooble's design was the same. This is a stretch, but Jax could have written the plot for the game. This explains why he seems to know more than he shows, although memory loss gets in the way a bit. I have no idea about Regatta. Remember is interesting. The game is launched on her computer. Maybe everyone has access to it, but maybe Remember is much higher in the hierarchy. Or maybe she's a bug tester and is going to get close to Kinger because of insect collections. As for Kaufmo or unnamed characters, I don't think we have enough information to figure out who they were. Maybe someone smarter than me could figure it out. And the last farewell thought. What if Caine is a much more successful AI recreation of a human? The head of the company, Caine, or Caine, we don't know the spelling, and that's assuming it's correct at all. Or is it what's left of Abel? I'm not quite sure how this could work. And yes, I know that Caine is specifically called artificial intelligence, not a human like the rest. Maybe it's because it's a cover-up? I have no idea, I'm just spitballing right now.